So birth father passed away when I was almost 3. And then my stepfather came into the picture from age 3 to 14. And then at 14, he left my family and took his entire extended family with him. So I playfully refer to that part of my life as boats and BS. And the reason why is because my mom and stepfather had what I now refer to as a pleasure-centered paradigm.
Welcome to another episode of Reframe for Resilience. Our guest today is Mr. Alan Lazaros. And I have to say that every guest that I have is special. But I am actually honored today because Mr. Lazaros, who is co-host of Next Level University podcast, has done more than 2,100 episodes on his podcast. That is 2,100. That is probably almost 100 times more than I have done. So I am tremendously honored that he has taken the time to share with us his journey, how he has reframed, and how that has made him resilient. Mr. Lazarus, welcome.
Thank you for having me, number one. Thank you for that awesome intro, number two. And I'm honored to be here. And I appreciate the humbling opening of you being so grateful for me to invest my time here, because in the 21st century, I think that it's noisier than ever. I love what you're doing in the world. I love what I'm doing in the world. I grew up in an environment that didn't have any personal development. So for me to be on a personal development podcast about resilience is an honor. And I never want to forget that, no matter how many episodes I do, right?
Well, thank you very much. And would you share with us some of the issues and the challenges you've had in your journey in which you've had to reframe?
Yeah. So uh, I can laugh now. Definitely couldn't laugh then. Father's Day was actually yesterday.
Yes.
And Father's Day used to be a very sad day for me, unconscious, subconsciously. And yesterday was actually a wonderful day. So I lost my birth father, John McCorkle, when I was 2, when he was 28 years old. So I was almost 3. He was 28. I had a mother who was 31, a sister who was 6. For me, everything's numbers. I'm an engineer. So there'll be a lot of numbers. I use numbers to put everything in context. But tough opening to life, obviously. Sudden car accident, not, just totally all out of nowhere. And John McCorkle, my dad, it was Jim, Joe, John, Jane, Joan, Jeanette. 6 kids, big Irish Catholic family, born and raised in Massachusetts. Place called Holden, Massachusetts. And after that, my stepfather came into the picture, because you'll notice my birth father, John McCorkle, my last name is Lazarus. And for anyone who does understand the heritage of that last name, they look at me and go, Lazarus? Yeah. So I'm the only non-Greek Lazarus that I've ever met. And, blonde hair, blue eyes, no hair on me. So very not Greek. And my stepfather was Steve Lazarus. I took his last name, I believe, around age 7. So birth father passed away when I was almost 3. And then my stepfather came into the picture from age 3 to 14. And then at 14, he left my family and took his entire extended family with him. So I playfully refer to that part of my life as boats and BS. And the reason why is because my mom and stepfather had what I now refer to as a pleasure-centered paradigm. If you've ever read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, he talks about paradigm. Paradigm is just a deep belief about the purpose of life. What do you unconsciously and subconsciously believe is the meaning? What is the point? And I adopted a paradigm of number 1 is achievement, number 2 is friends, and number 3 is fun. And my mom always taught me that if you aim high, you'll have choices. If you don't aim high, you might not have choices. You can be a CEO or a farmer. I'm going to love you either way. But anyways, so my mom and stepdad did not get along. That's a polite way to put it, but they loved having fun. So they ran amok is what I call it. And snowmobiles and ski trips and all this stuff. Stepfather leaves at 14, takes his entire extended family with him, also takes 90% of the income with him. I go from boats and ski trips, we have a yacht, to I now get free lunch at school because our income is so low. And luckily, equal opportunity, no child left behind, I was able to go to college. I got straight A's through all of high school. I got all the scholarships and financial aid that I could. I got into WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's kind of like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. And I became a computer engineer and I got my master's in business there. And then I was off to the races. So I did the traditional preschool, kindergarten, middle school, or elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate. That was the traditional path that I took in Massachusetts, the US. And I did very, very well. So I went from kind of broke after my stepdad left to when I got into corporate, computer engineer with a master's in business, and I just crushed it. I became a global top 1% earner in my early 20s. I had paid off $84,000 worth of college in a single year. I had $150,000 in a Vanguard account with all different tech and stocks and tech companies. And then I got in my car accident. 26 years old, head on collision, my fault. And it was not a fender bender. Usually I show the picture of the car. No one was killed. No one was permanently physically damaged, but it was definitely, we were rattled and it was my fault. And essentially, this was the second chance my dad never got. And so I just tried to condense 36 years into that was 10 years ago. I'm 36 now. I was 26 at the time. And that was when I found personal development, personal growth, self improvement, mental health. That's when I started going inward. So before that, I was externally successful, but deeply unfulfilled. Then I flipped the script: fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach, start my own company, Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. And I wanted to bring personal development to the masses. Good luck getting speeches at high schools and colleges with that slogan, right? And I'm still kind of on that journey now. And so that was 10 years ago. And now I have a company called Next Level University. We have an 18-person team. And you already mentioned the 2,100 episodes of the podcast, but it's also way more than that too. We have, 16 departments now. We have a charity, and it's become kind of a whole thing in a good way. But for me, the real pivotal moments were when my stepdad left. I just achieved as much as I could, got straight A's to try to kind of make up for that, because I looked into the future. No generational wealth, no trust fund, no father. I'm kind of, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And then 26, everything shifted when I found personal development. And here I am now, 36 years old, and still somewhat at the beginning, depending on how you look at it, but biggest into striving, not necessarily arriving. And I now understand in hindsight that pain and adversity can be an advantage if you have high self-belief and if you develop grit and resilience physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And ultimately, I am at a place in my life now where I'm actually grateful for a lot of it in a weird way, which I never thought would happen.
Alan, tell me, what do you think drove you? I understand the accident, and I understand, as a matter of fact, the relationship of your having the accident at 26 and losing your dad in an accident at 2. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that relationship. Was there anything else that drove you to take this path when many others might have said, woe is me, I'm just, just not lucky, and they go down the wrong path? Was there anything else?
I've been contemplating that for the last 10 years. And what I've come up with is if someone does have high self-belief, the psychology calls it self-efficacy, and this is unconscious and subconscious, then usually pain and suffering and failure and mistakes and challenges and adversity actually can make you stronger and smarter. So now I understand that that's something I had unconsciously. One thing I can say about me, I've always been extremely future oriented, always had goals. I researched this recently. Only 3% of people have clear written goals. That broke my brain because I've never not had goals, even if it was video games and straight A's in high school and wanting to be whatever. I always had goals and dreams. And I think that was kind of in some ways, my only sort of thing to tether to when childhood was so hard and so brutal. So you have your book, Until You Walk in My Shoes. That's a personal development based book. And that, growing up, all I saw was miserable human beings. I playfully refer to it as the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Miserable human beings, small town, small-minded town. Used to be too much of a coward to share this. And I looked around and I saw miserable people. And people would come to me and they'd say, these are the best years of your life. And I'd be in high school going, God, I hope not. personal development, in my opinion, is the solution to the majority of the injustice in the world.
So, as we close, give me two or three of those things that help you in your personal development.
So, in my naive, young, optimistic way, I'm trying to bridge fitness, personal development, and business because I believe those three are just so powerful. Because I've met multimillionaires, 1 billionaire, and in person, I know some of them really well, some of them on the surface. And in my honest opinion, none of them really took really good care of the asset. And I'm, for those of you not on YouTube, I'm pointing to the physical body. And I didn't either when I was early in corporate. I mean, I drank too much and too often. So number one is fitness. If you aren't physically fit, what are we doing? Why do you take better care of your car than your own health? Other people want to buy a Ferrari. I want to live in one. And so I'm very adamant about this. I'm very intense because it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I see it everywhere. I really do. The second one is self belief. So the first one's fitness. I think that's where all good things start. And that's where real self esteem is built, I think. Number two is self belief. And this you can build. I always say this: why would someone, everyone right now out there watching or listening, think of a person who appears super confident on the outside. They appear super certain. They feel so, they seem so confident. I would say, why would someone with level 10 confidence have level 2 goals? So number one is fitness. Number two is self-belief. Number three is self-worth. This one I didn't figure out until my 30s. Self-worth is and self-belief are two different things. Self-belief is I know I can build the castle and I'm going to do it and I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to be resourceful and I'm going to develop skills and I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to build the castle and I know I can do it. That's self-belief. Self-worth is I'm going to honor and protect this castle because I deserve to live here and I'm not going to let my friends spill beer all over the carpets. I had high self-belief, low self-worth. That's also known as the hero complex, aka the martyr who is going to try to save the world and at the expense of himself or herself, depending who's listening. And it wasn't until I started to develop self-respect and self-worth and self-esteem that I started to realize, okay, self-worth and self-belief are two different things. My girlfriend taught me that, girlfriend and future wife. And I have high self-belief, so I believe in my abilities at level 10, but I don't believe in my value at level 10. And so eventually I needed I needed those to even out. And I always use Harry Potter as an example because every story has victim, villain, hero, guide. I know we got to jump soon, so I'll go quick with it. But the victim has low self-belief and low self-worth. They're usually suppressed by society or by someone else, someone who's a villain, a manipulator. Manipulation, the villain archetype is low self-belief deep down and entitled, inflated self-worth because of their bloodline or their family or their generational wealth or whatever. These are the bullies of the world that think they're awesome without any merit. The third one is the hero. The hero has high self-belief and low self-worth, and they're going to try to save everyone at the expense of themselves. And that's sort of the journey we all go on. And then eventually you become the guide. And the guide is someone who has high self-belief and high self-worth.
Alan, thank you very much. This resonates so much. Last week, I had the honor of participating as a faculty in a course for graduate students that was held by the Meharry Medical Center. It was an interesting course. But one of the things Dean Lindsay, who designed this course, said to the graduate students, she said, never say no to yourself. So be fit physically, be fit mentally, self-belief, and also be fit psychologically, self-worth.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's an honor. I know you got another meeting at 3, so thank you so much.
Thank you indeed.